already revised with you the basic definition of a function as a particular type of relation. Now, let us further go ahead and study types of functions. So today we'll study types of functions. What are the different type of functions? We'll have one-one functions or injective functions. We'll have onto functions or surjective functions, and one-one onto or bijective functions. Before I start formally defining one-one onto and one-one onto, let us take example 4 and 5 in continuation of what example 1, 2, 3 I have already taken with you for the same situation of a residential school where you have set of students and set of hostel rooms. Let us take example 4. One more example in continuation of the earlier discussion. Call it example 4. F4 such that A to B, where A set of students A, B, C, D, E, F, and B is the set of hostel rooms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, look at this situation. A1, B2, C3, D4, E6, and F7. What do you find in this? That each student has been allotted a room, but all of them have been allotted a separate rooms. No two students, two or more students are sharing room. To such kind of hostels, what do you call? Single-seated rooms. In each room, only one student can be there. Now let me take one more example before I define. Look at F5. A, B, C, D, E, F, and room number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A1, B2, C3, D4, E5, F6. Here also, this is single seated accommodation. Every student corresponds to a particular room, and in every room there is only one student. Okay. Now what is the basic difference you find in example 4 and 5? That in example 4, one room is still vacant, whereas in example 5, for function 5, no room is vacant, it is fully occupied. Now take one more example, say F6. A, B, C, D, E, F, the set of student A, two set of rooms, 1, 2, 3, 4, only 4 rooms. Okay, A and B share their room, C has a single seated room second, D and E share room number 3, and F is 4. What do you find here? That some sharing is there, but all the rooms are occupied. And now with the help of these 3 examples, and even example 1, which has been discussed first of all, I'll explain to you the types of functions. Let me start with one-one function. One-one. The first type of function I am discussing with you is one-one function, or we may also call it injective function. Injective function. What is an injective function? If I define in terms of the example I have been discussing with you, it is single-seated rooms. For example, single-seated rooms. What are the examples? Function 4 and function 5 are one-one function. That is, each student has been allotted a room, no doubt, a unique room, but there is no sharing. How do you define? Let us define. a function f such that, definition, please note down the definition, a function f such that a to b is said to be 1, 1 or injective if the images of distinct elements of set A under F are distinct. That means if x1 and x2 are two elements of set A such that I repeat, if x1 and x2 are two distinct elements of set A such that fx1 equal to fx2, then that should imply x1 equal to x2. What does it mean in terms of that particular example? That if two students x1 and x2 are fx1 equal to fx2 means both of them have the same room, then it should be the same student. That means single seated. Or alternatively we can also define that if x1 is not equal to x2, if x1 and x2 are two different students, then fx1, that is the room allotted to x1, should also not be same as fx2. Different students are allotted different rooms. If rooms are same, then it cannot be two different students but the same student. That's how you define a 1, 1 or injective function. If this condition is not satisfied, then it is a many one function. Many one function otherwise. That means if there is any kind of sharing of rooms, it will be many one function. Like f1, if you look at the originally defined function f1 where b and c were sharing room number 2 is known as many one function. And this example 4 and 5 are the examples of 1, 1 function. Now next type is onto function. Take the next definition, that is number 2, let me call it, type of functions, onto function. Or to onto functions, alternatively we call surjective functions. Surjective functions. What are surjective functions? The example for surjective functions are example 5 and example 6. What is very special about example 5 and 6? In example 5, it is no room is vacant. There are 6 students and 6 rooms, and all the rooms are occupied. Even in room example 6, all the rooms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are occupied. So in terms of hostel room, we can say a fully occupied hostel. If it is a fully occupied hostel, we say onto. Let me define. Now please note down the definition. A function f such that a to b is said to be onto or surjective if every element of set b is the image of some element under f, or that is for every value of y there is some element x in A such that fx is equal to y. For each element y in set B, there is some element x in A such that fx is equal to y. That means in each room somebody is living. That is different, that there may be more than one student living in a particular room. So what are the examples of onto function? You have function 5 and function 6. But what is the difference between function 5 and function 6? In function 5, it is 1, 1 onto. F5 is the example of 1, 1 onto. That it is single seated rooms and no room is vacant. Whereas in F6, all the rooms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 are occupied, so it is onto. But A and B are sharing room number 1, D and E are also sharing. Even if there is one sharing, it is many one. So in example 6, it is many one onto function, many one onto function. So you find here we can have many one onto function, we can have one onto function, and we can also have one into function. But this one onto function, specially, that is F4, is specially known as bijective. Take the third type we call one onto. One onto function, we otherwise call them bijective. That is like single seated room and no room is occupied. It is fully occupied hostel. So it is example 5, where to every element of set A there is a unique element in set B, and to every room there is a unique one but not more than one student living in it. To such kind of functions we call bijective or one onto functions.